What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Big Country, and we're returning to No Place Like Home. Once again, big thank you to Wayne. Luke, where did you come from? Are you coming up? Luke is thinking about coming up. But yes, the next tune is Leap of Faith, which is a phrase perhaps most commonly associated with Soren Kierkegaard. And though I don't expect us to be in the realm of theological epistemology, I will note that as someone who studied a lot of philosophy in my university days, it's the more positive articulation of a sentiment also found in Pascal's wager. The idea that you may not have all the evidence, you may not have a perfectly logical train of thought, but on the opinion of some people, it is more prudent to believe because the consequences of not believing are so significant, or indeed in regard to leap of faith, that to believe in something requires you to move beyond the evidence-based, the logic-based frame of mind and to accept something without full justification for it. Nevertheless, I would imagine here this to be a more general articulation of the sentiment. You could take a leap of faith when getting into a relationship, because you don't know necessarily everything about a person when you do so. You don't know what the future will hold, so you have to believe in it even though you don't have all the data in front of you. So that's what I would expect. Of course, it might not be anything like that. Let's give it a listen. This is Big Country. The tune is Leap of Faith. Yes, you're fine, Luca. And it's from their 1991 album, No Place Like Home.
Sun
I love that ending. Okay, so it's still going. As it was beginning to fade with the instrumental sonics, I had just had a thought that I'm guessing it's just going to kind of loop this and fade. It starts to do that. I'm almost about to comment, and then the voices come in still full volume, and we get that mostly a cappella bit. I mean, I think there was a tambourine in there, and again, the other instrument sonics were still just sort of gently fading away. But I love that. Like, I mean, I was already going to comment that with those backing singers, those female voices especially, but even with Stuart's voice, there's a bit of a, like, gospel feel to this one. And that final section, mostly a cappella, really did enhance the feeling of this being almost like a gospel psalm sort of tune. And I do very much enjoy the, soulful gospel sound of those backing singers. So yeah, really love the way that ended. And then those voices began to fade, and actually faded quite gradually. So yeah, I enjoy the ending of the tune a great deal. And yeah, like, I was thinking going into this that, it probably won't be overtly religious, but I feel like that might be the essence of this. At the very least, it sounds like talking about, time to let it go, which, I don't know, that could be your pride, that could be your, rational side, that could be your reservations or your fears or your worries about committing to a leap of faith. Because that's the thing about a leap of faith, right? Like, it might not turn out to be true. You might be leaping into an empty swimming pool, and that is, of course, when you're talking about grand ideas, or even things of a more terrestrial nature, which is to say, I've gotten in discussions and debates about the idea of a leap of faith or Pascal's wager and so on, and, the idea of, like, we don't take medicines on faith, right? Like, you want to know that they've been tested and that they are not a danger to you more likely than helping you. You don't get on a plane just on the idea that you're going to have faith that it's been inspected and it's safe to ride in and so on. So there's certain things that we do in our everyday lives where we're not usually willing to make a leap of faith. We want to know, like, has this been tested? Is this safe? Is this mode of travel, is it going to be safe enough that I'm willing to put my life on the line for it? So, we want to know that it's been tested, that it's been inspected, and so on. Now, if that's the case, then I would argue, if you get to the really grand ideas of the cosmos, is it more or less appropriate to just say, well, I'm just going to believe this in its totality, rather than trying to dissect its parts or look for evidence and so on? I think there's a debate to be had there, but my point is, whether or not this is about, genuinely religious concepts, or just the idea of buying into something to the point where you're willing to take a risk, where you're willing to ride it and see where it goes, where you're willing to take that leap, I feel like the sentiment is more positive. It's, like, you've got to put aside, again, whether it's your own pride or your, hubris or your, sense of rationality or whatever, and you just have to feel it, you have to live it, you have to go for it. That seemed to be the essence of what I heard. And again, it's hard to divorce it of a religious context when there is a bit of a gospel feel. And I was thinking, even aside from that sort of gospel vocal layer, that it's another one where it feels like it kind of has the older Big Country sound, but with a bit more of a country folk vibe to it. So yeah, I have seen people's comments and gotten a sense just through the songs that was a direction that Stuart seemingly wanted to explore more and more, and I'm definitely feeling it on this album. So yeah, a cool tune, and again, I think Stuart's voice fit right in with those soulful, gospel-like supporting vocals. So yeah, definitely a cool one, and as I said, I very much like the ending. That took it to another level for me. So from Luca and I, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.